5 tips. That's what you get today from an incredible entrepreneur who's sitting to my left. I'm talking about her like she's not here, but she will soon be. Focused on the camera. So this entire concept about bringing 5 tips from real people that are hustling today and are living the dream and are learning in their journey what it is to be a successful entrepreneur. And so without any further ado, this is a good homie, Miss Sonya Gill. How are you?
I'm good.
Sonya is doing a lot of stuff, from being in the media business, being a host, running her own very successful digital agency, which I got to be a part of for a little bit.
My first merger and acquisition was with this
Which is awesome. I learned a lot in that short period on media and PR and social. And then she went on to sell that business.
Yeah.
And retired for a bit, if I can use that word, retirement. And then, of course, like any great entrepreneur, another idea bit her one day, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yes.
It is called Take My Sorry. She is the CEO and founder, and as of this morning, the ultimate flame fanner.
The ultimate flame fanner, yeah. Try saying that 5 times.
So this show is really about just that, bringing people that have the experience that I want to share. And I'm blessed to have a great network of really successful entrepreneurs. And everybody that reaches out always wants to know, what are the tips and the tricks that make you successful? There isn't one, but we can certainly learn from each other. Mm-hmm. And so what we want to talk about today is, what does it take to even think about running not just a digital business, but an app business, with all of the stuff that we go, a big site. It's like,
oh my God.
So what we want to talk about is, what does that look like? And we want to start with just a quick overview on Take My Sorry. Mm-hmm. How did you think about it? Mm-hmm. Clearly you're not wearing a sari today.
Yeah, I didn't know that you were expecting me to wear a sari.
Today's a cash talk. So let's start with Take My Sorry. What inspired you to go, hey, even though I'm out of the game, I still want to get back into it, and I have an idea.
Right. I had started Take My Sari as Buy My Sari as an original idea. This is during the Airbnb, Uber coming up days. And the sharing economy had just started. So I thought, wouldn't it be really cool? It was my mom's complaint. It came out of my mom's complaints. And she said, you have all these things lying around in your closet. Why are you guys not wearing any of these clothes? You guys are going out and spending $1,500 to, $2,000 on these saris and lenga and whatever.
$1,500 to $2,000.
Yeah, well, it was during my sister's wedding.
Jesus,
it was ridiculous, and so she was right, and I thought there needs to be a portal where someone is buying, selling, renting. Not selling, it was just buying and renting old clothing. So that was during the same time that I had started USUS. So that was in my second year of USUS, except I understood very quickly that app was going to take a lot of my time, so I put it on the back burner. And then after I sold USUS, I took some time off and brought it back to the forefront, and I dusted the idea off, brought in a graphic designer, went back to the old frames, and he really helped me bring it into fruition.
Right.
So Buy My Sari quickly went into Take My Sari, because at this time now, Uber and Airbnb, they're doing really well. So we had all these amazing ideas of, how we can engage users, how we can build it out very quickly. We had an angel investor that wanted to put some money in. It's fantastic that when you sell a company, people will give you money.
Exactly.
But in the beginning, when you're starting something up for the first time, you're like, please give me money. I promise you I'm going to do really well. Yeah. And then they're like, no, you're not going to. So.
Yeah, and most of the time, if you sold it for the right value, you don't need the angel investors, because you got a little bit of your own cash.
Yeah.
Then you're like, I needed you more earlier when I was broke.
Exactly. And so I was like, now I don't really need it.
Because the idea is still the same.
Yes. So so it started last year, and then I believe I was in your office last year in June or July, and I was crying, and I'm like, what is this? This doesn't look like my design. I sent something else, and it came back completely different. And then you said, don't worry, it's going to be okay. You just need to call them and just tell them this. But my whole team is in India. So it's like numerous Skype calls, numerous emails, numerous, decisions. And oh my God, it's just been It's been a roller coaster.
And I want to dig into a bit more on the decision to outsource and stuff. First thing, just so our viewers are all on the same page, we're in the business and we're pretty savvy. How do you define the sharing economy? What does that mean?
Sharing economy right now is the ability to trust, to be able to hop into an Uber and know that you're going to get from point A to Z safely.
Right.
It's the ability to rent a home or rent an apartment knowing that you're going to go in, you're going to be treated just like you would be at a hotel.
Right.
And probably even better, right? Actually, I was listening to an amazing podcast by Tim Ferriss the other day on how Airbnb got built. Amazing podcast. I'll give it to you later. But that's the sharing economy right now. Is we trust each other.
Right.
At least a lot of people do. But my biggest hurdle right now is not a lot of people in the South Asian community trust one another.
Exactly.
And so my biggest hurdle that I'm faced with right now, my challenge right now is, okay, how am I going to build this trust amongst these people that it's okay to rent something or it's okay to buy something old?
Right.
We'll overcome the challenge.
Sure.
But it's there within the South Asian community.
And for the record, Sonya's definition, I took some time off after selling my business, is like 3 months, maybe less. So I don't know if that qualifies for time off, but
September, October, November, December, 4 months.
Yeah.
4 months.
So after working your butt off for many, many years building an agency and you sell it, your definition of time off is 4 months, which is
Whatever, you just sold yours. You have taken no time off at all.
So our definition of time off is really whack, so don't pay attention to that. But let's talk about, so you decided you're going to start this company and you had an angel investor interested. The decision to go local and build a team that you can manage 9 to 5 versus going offshore, how did that start?
So I knew from building the old agency model that I didn't want to hire people in-house. Like I wasn't ready to do the payroll again. I wasn't ready to pay HST and to the government and CRA again. And like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to go through HR and human resources. Like I don't want to do any of this. But I knew I wanted to keep my costs low, and I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I knew that the outcome of this would be great. Like I have faith that I will flip this company as well. But I needed to keep my costs low just in case shit hit the fan. And nowadays, everyone and anyone is an app developer. And I know a lot about marketing. I know a lot about digital marketing, but I don't know a lot about apps. Which is why I came to you.
Which I don't know, just for the record.
Yeah, like I swear, if there's one thing that I wish I went back to school for, it would be to code. Like I wish I knew how to code. So I had to outsource it for a little while, and now the difficulty is finding amazing app developers that are not just tooting their own horn and getting paid ridiculous amounts of money for doing the same job that the people in India were doing. So that was the decision to outsource it because it kept the cost low.
Okay, so let's get into the 5 tips from Sonya. So when you look at the journey that you've been on. From thinking about the idea to now, are you public beta or you're live right now?
We're live.
Okay, so you're out of the beta, you're a live app in an app store.
Please give me good reviews, no bad reviews.
I will leave link at the bottom for it. So let's start with, what are some of the things from a tip perspective you would share if somebody's like, you know what, I want to get into an app business and I have this idea, because everybody I meet has an app idea now. Everybody. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Are you sure it's not built? There's billions of apps. Please make sure. No, it's a very unique idea. Nobody's ever done it. So let's start with what would you share?
So the one thing I would share is if you're going to build an app, you need to ask yourself, why are you building an app and not a web portal? Because people will go to a website more often than they'll go to an app. Like to get people to actually download an app, from what I'm learning, it's very harsh. Getting these aunties to go on Google Play and then go on the iTunes store and download it. They would rather go to www.takemystudy.com. So ask yourself, why are you building an app rather than the website? Because you can build a website and it can become a mobile app. So if it's built properly, anything can be an app.
I wonder how much of that is people just having this what's the word? For lack of a better word, it's a sex appeal almost. Like I have an app company versus I run a website. How many of them are willing to just forego the smart technology decision because they want to be in the app business.
In the app business. And you have to ask yourself, okay, starting an app business is not easy. It's like, why are you starting it? Where are your transactions going to be coming from? What is your revenue model? Are you building this to sustain income? If you're doing it for that reason, then your revenue model better be like... I need to see like phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. What are you adding in these different phases that are going to keep your users coming back for more? And a lot of people forget that. They think, oh, once I build it, they will come. But no, you got to keep adding, like, with your app, is like you got to keep adding functionalities. So it's just like
constantly evolving.
Constantly. Instagram keeps doing it. Facebook keeps doing it. I go on Facebook ads to run ads all the time. I'm like, there's something new again. Like, you just can't keep up. But they do integrate some really great things, right?
Yeah. So then, how do you, as a CEO of an app company, think and act differently than your CEO of an agency?
I still treat it like an agency, which is funny, because I still have clients that are using the app. How do I treat it differently? I don't treat it differently. I am very, very big on one-on-one relationships. People know exactly how to get a hold of me. They can call me directly. They can email me directly. I never want to be one of those people that sends out something via MailChimp, mass email to everyone, being like, hey, everyone. No, like, I had to go through my list that people had signed up to the app. We pulled the list, and I emailed every single one of them and said, hi, my name is Sonya. If you need to get a hold of me, I would love to know your feedback about the app, and so on and so forth, which is exactly what I did in the marketing world, right?
Yeah,
I email clients, you develop those relationships. And being in the marketing world, it's very advantageous for me because I know developing those one-on-one relationships is going to allow me to further the app, right? Rather than just doing the whole guerrilla marketing. Yeah.
So I take tip 2 as, even if you're building an app business, it's still a people business.
It's 1,000% a people business.
Right? You can't hide behind this app to go, oh yeah, I made this thing. You can download. You're still making one-on-one outreach to go, hey, if you're a vendor, get on my platform. If you're a customer, do you also do tech support and customer support? Come on, don't lie. Are they really emailing you behind the scene?
Actually, I am like the one. I can't say I'm a one-man show now. I do have a team of 3 people that do a wonderful job. They help me a lot with the Instagram marketing and the Instagram ads that we're doing. I'm sure you've seen the Instagram, Take My Slutty Instagram. But I do a lot of the tech support and the customer service. Right now, it's my baby. I need people to know that, okay, you uploaded this, and there was a reason for a glitch. If there's any further problems, just come to me. Don't quack to 10 other people that have no idea what's going on behind the scenes with Take My Slutty right now, right?
Or go online blasting people, which we can solve in 3 seconds.
Exactly. So if you have a problem, I want people to know that they can come to me, and I will tell you exactly what's going on right now. Like, be patient, we're getting there.
So how do you, and this is segueing into you being the leader who has to constantly learn and evolve and learn and evolve, how are you learning the business of being in an app business, but more importantly, all the other stuff that maybe you didn't have to focus on, user experience design, learning how to evaluate QA folks when you didn't have to deal with. So how are you as a owner, because that's what people want to learn, how do I become a better owner? How are you staying educated and inspired?
I'm drinking lots of wine and carrying a journal.
We need a wine sponsor for this episode. That we can put a bottle right here in 3D.
Kim Crawford, Sauvignon Blanc. I'm not gonna lie, she helps me a lot. Kim and me are like this these days.
We're gonna tag her on these posts.
So much reading, I read the biography of the Gill group. I went to New York and I met with people that worked for big rental sharing companies. Lots of research, lots of behind the scenes footage, constantly being asked to be introduced to person A, person B, person C. Pretty soon we're going to start knocking on doors to raise our first Series A. Which is, I've never had to raise a Series A before. This is kind of crazy. Because when I sold the last company...
I got to get in before Series A.
Because when I sold the last company, it was just like a knock on the door. And I'm like, okay, sold. I felt like I was an item at Walmart. And I was like... sold. But this
Give me one, give me two, give me three, give me four, sold.
But this is like, I gotta actually go knock on doors now.
Yeah.
But when I was knocking on doors before this, just to get a sense of, will people fund it? The answer is yes, but I got so many of my other technical answers solved as well. So I just had a few meetings in Vancouver where I sat down with some really, really, really intelligent people that put you to shame. And
Which is awesome.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
And they're building their own companies, and then you get feedback from them. And I go home and I have a spreadsheet and I write in, okay, I knocked on this door, this is what they said. I knocked on this door, this is what they said. And then going back and just constantly trying to improve.
Right. So this whole idea of just being outbound, right? Like, it's not most people don't wake up and go, I'm confident enough to call people.
Yep.
Right? Do you have a process, do you have a routine that gets you into the zone of being in that mode where the first 99 rejections are a gateway to the first yes? Like, how do you after the wine runs out?
Yeah. How do you motivate yourself?
Yeah, or you naturally just, hey, I know you've got a very good background in like public speaking and all that kind of stuff. But I'm thinking about that person sitting here going, man, I'm not Sonya. Look at her, she's well put together. She knows what she's doing. She can present. But
really, I look like that. That's awesome. No, I'm kidding.
That camera says you are, my friend.
You know what? It's a self-motivated thing, and to be very honest with you, I go to the gym every morning. That is my.
Oh, you go to the gym, all right.
Well, and that's my medicine. That's something that gets me going. While I'm at the gym, I'll be listening to a podcast, or I'll be listening to a YouTube video, or I'll be reading something, and that really gets me revved.
Yeah.
And then by the time I sit down and I get to the office, my mind's already running a mile a minute. Okay, let's add this, let's add this, let's add this. And then I've got an incredible advisory board of one person, which is Bobby. Bobby, who is amazing.
I got to get him on the show, man.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
He's working with some really amazing companies right now. And technically, I have to report to Bobby, and I got to let him know what's going on financially with the company and what we're growing by. And what's really cool is pulling that list, every week on the back end and being like, holy crap, we grew by 500 more users.
Yeah.
So that it just keeps you going. It keeps you revved.
Cool. Now, so far we've talked about really start with whether you need an app or not, because most people think being an app business is what it is, but really it's about what's the right service you're bringing to the market.
Right.
And if it could be done as an app, if it's done as a web, that's secondary to what is the actual problem. And you were solving an actual problem, right? Like, my wife has got a ton of stuff in her closet she has not worn.
Get
in
her
fact,
on there.
Things that I've bought her, like when we were first dating, is still sitting there. And it's like, I wore it once. I don't know if I want to wear it. I'm like, that was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Nobody Instagrammed it.
Yeah.
You could wear it twice, right?
That's so true.
So you got a real market. You found a market that has a problem that you can solve.
Yes.
And yours is web and an app, or is it an app only?
So it's an app right now, and if I was to do it all over again, I think I would have started with the website, and then I would have opened the apps.
Build attraction, proof of concept, easy to hire web developers.
Right? I would have absolutely done the website route. Looking back on it now, it just makes the most amount of sense, especially with the demographic that I'm dealing with. However, on the app side, we are going to be implementing, we're noticing a lot of people are uploading their old items, right? Hoping that someone will buy it. However, we're going to install a kind of like an artificial intelligence part where you upload your picture of your old item, and then it'll give you suggestions on how else you can recreate that. So using the same fabric, you can recreate that into a sari blouse, or you can recreate that into a dress. So
that's really smart.
So then people are not stuck on, okay, well, here's my lehenga. You can wear it now. I don't want to wear it as a lehenga. Maybe I want to recreate that and make it into a gown or something, right?
And now you're going from creating a tool that can solve my problem to a tool that can inspire me to do something else with it.
Yes.
And I might not want to sell it now that you showed me.
That idea came with a glass of wine, by the way.
Okay.
See, I'm helping you with your sponsorship.
Big shout out to our wine potential future partners. And so then we talked about tip number 2, which is, even though it's an app and a technology company, it's still about the people.
Yes.
Right?
100% is about the people. I just finished writing a book, which you guys will be able to find online as of Monday, or maybe even today if I get around to it. It's done. I just got to upload it onto Creative Space and get it going. $3.99. It's my top 50 marketing tips. And in that, one of those tips, Seth Godin is my go-to marketing guy. I love everything that guy writes. If you have not read about Seth Godin or do not know Seth Godin, know of him now, please.
He inspired these glasses, people.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
Which are really great glasses. He even says, if you can affect 100 people, you're golden. You're good. If you've affected every one of those people in a positive way and you've actually reached out to them, you're talking to them, they're going to go and whistle blow. He calls them sneezers, right? They're social sneezers. They will go and sneeze to 5 other people.
I like that
So
term.
you have to develop those key relationships. I don't know if you saw the Take My Side commercial that we aired on Facebook.
I did. I loved it.
It was 108 shares and 32,000 views.
Wow.
And 108 shares. As soon as it hit 100, I was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Because 100 people shared it, and I know that they probably have thousands of friends, and they probably saw it. And people that were tagging people in it, I didn't know any of them. But thankfully, I take care of my relationships with people. Tell me, I hope I take care of my relationships with people. Are you taking care of?
I'm taking care of. Felt well taken care of.
So I try to give as much value as I can without expecting anything in return.
Yeah, and that's what I hear from almost every entrepreneur that I've interviewed in the last 5-10 years, where give first.
Yes.
'Cause there's so much of taking that happens that when you can just give somebody a minute of your time, like what you're doing today, to share with some strangers, and hopefully we get 100 shares on this particular episode, and I'm happy. Because you never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Right?
You don't.
But that's not the point in life. It's let's give what we can, as long as we can, as often as we can.
Yes.
And sometimes some of these return on investments happen without you even knowing it's happening behind the scenes.
1,000%.
Right?
1,000%. I was going to say 100%, and you're like 100%. 100%.
So there's a lot of talk about the team that makes you who you are, right? Because you are at the top leading, but behind you is a whole bunch of people that make things happen. So, as tip number 4, how do you find and attract great talent when you're broke and you can't pay them? It's just a really nice napkin sketch of an idea.
My burn rate is like through the roof. Yeah.
So how do you start to think about not just a team that's comfortable to get you through day to day, but a ninja team that get you to a business objective that you can't attract without the basic formulas of money and prestige and all that stuff.
And having a recruiting agency.
So how do you start to think about the people that you want?
So I go with people that have raw talent and people that I know that I can fit into the company culture, and then go from there. If they understand me, they understand my vision, they understand my values, we're golden. We're good. The team that I've created right now, which I hope they stay on for a long time, I really like them. They know that they don't have to sit in my office from 9 to 5. They know that they can come and go as they please. They choose to be there from like 10 to 4 or whatever it might be. But I also know I can get a hold of them at 8 p.m. on a Friday night. Or I can get a hold of them on 8 p.m. And we always talk about this. It's like, why is it so hard to get a hold of these people? Like, as soon as 5 o'clock hits, it's like they check out and you can't even get a hold of these people. So my objective with building this team is I want them to know that they have the absolute freedom to do whatever they want, bring whatever you can to the table. Don't listen to what I'm telling you to do. I want to hear what you think will improve this, right? So that's how I build my team, and I listen to them. I have to listen to them. And then from a marketing background, I give them my ideas on my marketing ideas. They start putting it together, and they're just like, well, wait a minute, Sonya, what if we did this? And then it formulates into something. Too often, there's too many entrepreneurs that do things for money, or they think about oh my God, he's on hour number 5, I've got to pay him this much. But they forget that give it time. Just give them time. And you know what? Sometimes they'll even do it from the goodness of their heart because you believe in them.
So to build on tip number 4, which is build a great culture, how would you describe the culture at Take My Sari? If somebody wants to join your team and they're watching this thing like, man, I really like the idea, I didn't even know it. It looks like Sonya's a cool boss.
And she drinks a lot of wine.
Right? And she'll feed us with wine and chevro. Being in the Desi scene. How would you describe your culture? What is it like to work for you? There's
a beginning and there's an end. I will I'm building this company because there's an end goal.
Yeah.
You're not in this because we're gonna sell Saudis for the rest of our life. We're in this to build and to scale and to sell. I want them to be as ferociously as ambitious as I am about the app. So when they're coming in, it's fun. But there are timelines and there's goals and there's deadlines. And if you're not as passionate as I am or the rest of the team, then you know where the door is. Like, you can leave. But they know that coming in, I will, like my last team, I took them with me right to the very end.
Yeah.
And they all ended up getting paid double their salaries through the company that ended up buying me. And same thing with my team. I tell them all the time, just trust me, I will take care of you guys. Yeah. At the end, I can only give you guys examples of how I treated everyone else in my other team. And I think it's a big testament when people from your old team are coming to you saying, hey, I'd like to be a part of your new team, right?
Yeah.
Like, you did something
and
right.
It's a great feeling.
It's such an amazing feeling. So yeah, I mean, the culture that I'm trying to create is just be ambitious, be yourself, be passionate, but have integrity, be loyal, and just understand one another. Yeah. And we'll get there.
So that's a great point, because one of the things I wanted to segue into is visioning versus planning. And there's always this this talk about, what's your plan? What's your 1 year plan? What's your 6 months plan? And startups go through that all the time, right? Like, I'm president at the Discovery Zone in Ryerson, and constantly, before the idea is even really given room to breathe, we're forced into these planning cycles. So I always say there's a plan, but it could change, but your vision is really what sets up the company's success. So how do you play between setting visions that are big and humongous and almost scary that you want to live up to it, and then day-to-day planning that you're accountable to the Bobbies and your teams and your investors? Yeah. How do you play between vision and planning?
So every Monday, so I journal, as a lot of entrepreneurs do, and I go over my goals, I review my goals, and every Monday I set out, okay, this week this needs to get done. Yep. This is the end goal, but this is what we're going to do to get to this end goal. But learning my lesson from having built the last company is your vision's constantly changing. You're never going to go according to plan. Ever. Nothing ever fucking goes according to plan. Like, I will tell you, okay, by next April I'll be here. No, I won't. I'm not going to be there. It'll probably be like somewhere like beyond my vision, right? Like, we actually beat our visions every single time. But what helps is setting that Monday to yourself, and then figuring out, okay, this is what the week looks like. This is what I'm doing for the week. And then just building every week. Because shit hits the fan, and sometimes there are going to be days where you're like, I am not going anywhere. I'm staying home and I'm Netflixing. Like, Netflixing. Is that a word?
Netflixing. Yeah.
Netflixing.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man.
Ding!
Take Masari comes with a Netflixing add-on app, which I'm going to build this afternoon by myself. And get it going.
Yeah, there you go.
No, it's a really interesting struggle, because, and to your point, like, people always knew me as an entrepreneur, but once I sold the company, all of a sudden I'm this bigger success story. And then my brain, it was a nice payday, but the struggle was the struggle. And I was the same person before I got a check, and I'm the same hustling kid after the check. But there's some sort of a weird market validation. One of the
biggest hustlers I know.
Hustler number 1. Okay. No, I'm just joking. It's just, you get excited about what we're working on. And I think people sometimes forget that, the term hustle really for me is about passion.
Yes.
If you're passionate about it, then you'll do whatever it takes without counting the clock. You don't look at it as a weekday and a weekend. You don't look at it as, lunch breaks, and you just do stuff, right? And that's where, when I'm hearing you talk, it's this idea of having a great vision, knowing that it'll change, having a good plan, but knowing that I could also change, but the ultimate solution you're bringing to the market is still the same.
Yes.
How can I enable you to move your inventory
That's the
at
same.
home?
Yeah, that's the exact same.
Cool. So let's recap the 5. We've got decide whether it's a web or app based on what problem are you actually solving. The world doesn't need another app.
Yeah.
Trust me. There's a lot of people that will take your money to make you an app.
Yes, they will.
But the world doesn't need another app unless you're solving a real problem.
Yes.
And sometimes it's okay to go, hey, somebody else is doing an app that I think could be better.
Yeah.
How can I call them and say, let me help you?
Yes. or go in for shares, or however you can get involved. Absolutely, I agree.
And I don't know if it's a Daisy thing, but I'm sure people look at your app and go, "Oh, she can do all this better," but I'm not going to tell her.
Yeah.
I'm just going to start from zero and try to build
It's
stuff.
already happened.
I'm like, why don't you join up?
Yeah.
Why don't you call Sonya and go, "Hey, have you thought of these things?
Yes.
Can I join you as a CTO, as your advisor, as your employee?"
It's so funny. Like last year when I launched all these other sites, these web portals that
Flattering
went up.
copycat.
Yeah, that went up right after. And I thought, great, good for them, but they just didn't understand the business model.
Yeah.
And a lot of them shut down because they're just like, oh, well, the business isn't there. People are not buying and renting, saris at the rate we thought that they would. Well, no, because you haven't taken the time to understand, okay, what's coming in phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. You can't just stick a website up and be like, okay, everyone's going to start
Everybody's
buying.
coming. I told 5 aunties.
Yeah.
I was going to tell 5 aunties.
Yes.
Now I have
That's
10
not
aunties.
how it works.
Yeah.
And
No.
I don't think people have the skin. The people need thick skin in this industry to survive it. Because as soon as the dollars start going low, people start to freak out.
Yeah.
And they go really low sometimes, and you just can't freak out at all.
Where
You just
breakfast,
gotta
lunch,
keep
and
going.
dinner is just wine.
Yeah.
Okay, because there's nothing else to eat. And tip number 2, even
Colored water in a glass, please.
when you fake wine.
I should take food coloring with me. Just like a glass of water, please. And then just like, I'll be like, what are you drinking? Oh, just energy drink.
Oh man. So just because you could build something, understand that you still need to be a people person. At the end of the day, people buy from people. I don't care if you're Uber or Facebook or Airbnb or Take My Sari, knowing that it's a people business is really important. Lots and lots of research, right?
Tons.
Constantly research.
Tons.
Look for things that you can get better at, but look at your competitors.
Look for competitors outside of your industry.
Absolutely, that's a great point.
Yeah.
And build a great culture.
Yes.
Right?
It's
Define,
so important.
Yeah, define what that means, because your culture will reflect a lot of your style, your personality, your leadership, and don't try to be a Mark Zuckerberg.
No.
Don't try to be
Someone-
a Tony Robbins. Don't try to be you.
Yeah.
And build a great culture around you.
And leave your ego at home. Your ego is not your amigo.
Yeah. Your ego is
It's
not your amigo.
No, it's true.
That's the tagline for
there's
this
too
show.
many people that that's a tagline. I love it. No, but there's too many people that think, okay, well, I'm going to be this type of a leader today, and they will listen to me, and they get all egotistical, and it's like, fuck off. Seriously, just be yourself. If they're gonna like you, they're gonna like you. If they're gonna respect you, they're gonna respect you. If they don't respect you, it starts with you. Why are they not respecting you?
Yeah. That's awesome.
Am I allowed to swear so much on
Yes.
this? Okay.
Yes. I was waiting for the first guest to drop the F-bomb so I can do it. So I will do an F-bomb later today.
Oh my gosh.
Vision and planning, we've hit that over the nail over the head already. So those are the 5 tips. We're documented. I want to just talk about you as an individual for a second outside of the 5 tips. So there's this conversation around, are you and this is me getting a little racy in our topic, do you look at yourself as a female entrepreneur? Do you look at yourself as an entrepreneur first? And being in the category of apps and technology, is there any hurdles or lessons or roadblocks? Because we have like our interns, our young women looking to get into the business, and is the struggle real? And if it is, how can we enable the next generation from the kind of stuff you've gone through?
Right. I do think I'm very big on energy, spirituality, so on and so forth. I believe in your thoughts formulate everything about you. They formulate your persona, just the way you go out and you attack life, right? There's this great quote by Sheryl Sandberg, and she says, one day there will be no female leaders, there will just be leaders.
Amen.
Yeah, so, being a female entrepreneur, hell yeah. I mean, if I can empower other female entrepreneurs, that's exactly what I want to do. But I'm not just a female entrepreneur for the females. I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But I mean, I get women all the time saying, you're such an inspiration and you've done so much. I think that's incredible.
Yeah.
If I was able to inspire someone, that's awesome. But definitely, I'm looking forward to the day that there's not a female entrepreneur and a male entrepreneur. There's just entrepreneurs.
Yeah. And that's the world I hope my daughter grows up into. Because ultimately, if she's anything like me.
Yeah.
First of all, good luck to her.
Yeah.
Second of all, hopefully daddy's got enough friends that you can lean on. This notion of turning off the brain, like, do you shut down at all, or is it moments of breaks, but really this is what 99% of your headspace is? Take my sorry.
I think you can shut down your brain when you choose to shut it down, if you're actually cognizant of it. There's a great technique I just learned with meditation, and you pull from your third eye. This is going to get way too deep for this show, but
Deepak Chopra, pay attention.
You basically envision your third eye, and you point it to a 45-degree angle, and just takes 2 minutes. And they say sometimes even 30 seconds is all you need. And you envision what everything looks like in your future, if that's what it takes to really meditate, to just quiet your brain, and that's it. Like, you choose to shut off your brain when you want to shut it off. Yeah. You don't just shut it off and like, okay, brain's done.
Yeah.
You're the same.
I haven't figured out how to do it successfully yet.
No, I don't think anyone's really figured it out unless you meditate.
Yeah.
You're Netflixing. My brain's still going. You're reading, brain's still going. Yeah. You're sleeping in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning. I sleep with a journal next to me because I'll come up with these like crazy ideas. I'm like, shit, that was good, and then I'll write it down. I don't think your brain never shuts off.
No, that's a great answer, because there's so many people that I talk to where they're trying to do something big, but also look for this balance. And I'm like, look, I understand the need for balance, but something like launching your own company, hiring people, building great cultures, it's got to be a lopsided relationship.
Yeah.
You got to go heavy.
Yeah.
As long as you can in there.
As long as you can.
Because it needs that attention. It needs that love to give it the breathing room to be successful.
I mean, travel helps a lot, but you should set up your company and set up your business in such a way that you can travel and also work at the same time. But yeah, I don't think it ever happens.
So 2 last questions about you as an individual. One thing that you learned about the project, from the initial vision that you had to all the awesome stuff you've gone through, if you can go back in time and tell that Sonya, hey, the real truth is this, what would you say is one thing that stuck out from a planning and vision to reality?
I think the biggest thing, if I was to go back, I would have started it as a website first, and then maneuvered it into an app, as I said.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing so far that I've learned. I'm always 2 steps ahead of everything, so sometimes I need to tell myself to slow down a little bit. So that's also a big takeaway. I thought I would be somewhere else at this moment, but I'm not. But everything happens in divine timing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great answer. And obviously, every venture you learn something about yourself. In this particular venture, which is a little bit of a different workflow than pitching clients and doing all this stuff, is there something you learned about yourself that is different than what you thought about yourself from previous ventures?
Yes. You can't go into your new venture trying to recreate the wheel, thinking that, okay, I'll just be the same person I was in the last venture and bring that person into this venture. Yeah. In order to recreate something, you actually have to be a different person. Otherwise, how are you going to recreate anything, right? So that has been a challenge. How am I going to recreate myself right now? Right. Mentally, physically, emotionally, and bring that new person into this and innovate times 10. Yeah. And stop doing what I was doing back in the past.
That's awesome, man. To close off the segment, I would love for you to tell our audience, right from the CEO and the ultimate flame fanner, the 30-second plug on Take My Sari, where to find you, and how can people get in touch with you?
So, Take My Sari is a place where you can buy, rent, and sell anything South Asian. So we're talking menswear, kidswear, shoes, accessories, bridal, lenge, saris, anything. I see people posting sweaters on there.
What?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
This one of a kind is available for purchase after this show.
Wedding decor. There's a ton of stuff on there. So that is Take My Sari in a nutshell. You can buy, rent, sell. We include your shipping. Your shipping is included with UPS. And you can download it right now on Google, on the Google Play Store, as well as iTunes. And as I said to Sathish, bear with me. There are some glitches that we're fixing. And there's phase 2, phase 3, phase 4 coming up. So you're going to be very engaged in the coming months.
So we will add all of her links at the bottom if you guys want to get in touch. Again, as I said, just because you have the ability to go build an app doesn't mean you should.
Yes.
There's a great way to be in the ecosystem of being a contributor to a startup. If you need advice and want inspiration, take her out for a cup of coffee and pay for it. Don't make her pay for it.
Or wine.
Or wine. But there's so much inspiration just around our community. I'm so happy you came by.
No, thank you for having me.
To
Thank
jump
you.
on this new concept of sharing the thoughts from my friends into a world. Maybe it's the older version of me wanting to just give more, like what we've always done.
Yeah.
So more episodes coming with more awesome friends. Bobby, I know you're watching it. I need you in the studio with me. That's my direct plug request. This has been the 5 tips with a master in the master class. Go check out Take My Sorry. Till next time.
Yes.
Peace.
Thank you.